guys, it's Amelia Singer here, and I am going to be talking about wines for autumn paired with authors, because it's National Authors Day, and also what can be better when it's starting to get colder at night, darker earlier, and you just want to be at home with a good glass of wine, an amazing book with some lovely music playing, and a great takeaway. So I based all of the authors today based on the styles of these wines, and all of the wines today have come from my local wine store, Mel and Rose, which has been around for 20 years, and I've deliberately stuck to the $12 to $20 price range, which is what I did for the grocery grab videos. And what has just become extremely apparent, and it's the same in England too, when you're looking at that price range, you get so much bang for your buck when you go to an independent wine store. So I hope you really enjoy these wines, and yeah, it gives you some inspiration for your nighttime reading. So a grape which I think is so versatile and delicious is Chenin Blanc, and I love it in the form of Vouvray, which basically means it's Chenin Blanc from the Loire Valley. And this is an awesome Vouvray. It's not sweet, some of them can be a bit off-dry, particularly in the States, but this one, it's 2016, it's by Marc Bradif. And by having that little bit of age, you get the lovely kind of golden yellowy apples. You're kind of going on from the crisp green into a yellowy, warm apple colour, a bit like kind of the leaves turning in autumn. And you get a lovely waxiness too with the age. And it kind of lulls you in with this like warm fruit, waxy texture. And then it has this lovely salty tang at the end. So it's an autumn wine because it can absolutely be enjoyed on its own, but it'd be fantastic with food. I tend to think of autumn wines having a bit more complexity, concentration, maybe a bit more nuanced. This is a lovely, brilliant gold colour. And in terms of author, I'm thinking of the style, how you get lulled into this lovely warmth, and then it has a bite at the end, a very refreshing, bracing bite, a bit like an autumn breeze. I would have to go with Meg Wolitzer, who's one of my favourite contemporary female writers from the States. Lots of her fiction is called domestic fiction because it's based in the domestic space, just on families and friendship groups. And it's funny because you get then lulled into this little world, and then she comes out with these really biting and acerbic societal observations, and she has this really quick wit, which, yeah, you're lulled into false security, and then she comes up with these brilliant, on-the-spot, piercing observations and commentary. So I would have to have this with a Meg Wolitzer novel, or short story, and a plate of smoked salmon and scrambled eggs, and that would be fantastic. And this is $20, $19.99, but I think in terms of complexity, concentration, and just elegance, this wine is fantastic value. Hey guys, my next wine is a rosé, because as you know, I am a huge proponent of drinking rosé all year round. And just like for autumn, basically you just want something with a bit more maybe intensity and expression than your go-to Provence rosé. So I've deliberately chosen a wine which, don't be scared, it looks a bit darker than what you would normally choose for rosé, but that darker does not necessarily mean sweeter. The colour really depends on the thickness of the grape skins and how a wine has been made. And this wine, called Califoria, is from Puglia, southern part of Italy. And as you can see, it's got a really fun label. And I chose it because it's great value for money, because it's from Puglia, which no one really knows about, because even though they've been making wine since ancient Greek time, it used to be known more for quantity as opposed to quality. But the Antinoris family, who've been around for 26 generations making wine, plus a bunch of other really innovative winemakers, have all put a really concerted effort into breathing life into this region, because the grapes are just incredible, the soils are amazing, it's just very misunderstood. So this rosé is made from a native grape, the Negro Amaro, which is kind of known for kind of red cherry fruits and forest fruit flavors. And I must admit, this wine it's really fun. Like when you smell it and you taste it, it's a bit like strawberry coulis or strawberry puree, I guess you'd say, in the US. And then when you taste it, you get this vibrant acidity, which comes from that limestone soil in Puglia, which means that you get that fruit, but it's not sweet. And then you get this wonderful kind of white pepper spice, this resinous pepperiness to it, which is awesome, keeps it light, bright, playful, and fun and expressive. So in order in regards to the author I would pair it with, I think this wine is very expressive. There's a timelessness to it, but there's also innovation. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's fun. I immediately thought of Mark Twain, who started off writing light verse, then developed more into a chronicler of the human condition and man's vanities. I think of his writing as being timeless and giving joy to millions of people for years to come. And he was also a big inventor too. He liked to breathe life into new ideas and concepts and was a very good friend of Nikola Tesla. And they apparently hang out in Nikola's lab for hours. So when he died, President Taft described him as not only a big part of American literature, but also someone whose writing would continue to live on and continue to bring so much joy for millions of people to come and years to come. And so yes, I would drink this wonderful rosé, which is $15.99, which I just think, oh my gosh, for something of that expression and clarity and playfulness, it's brilliant. And I'd have a glass of this and I would read my Mark Twain, and you could have a plate of sushi or amazing fusion food or Thai. So now we're going on to autumnal reds. So I want something which has, of course, intensity, concentration, warmth and spice, but maybe isn't as big and bold as some of the more wintry reds, which we'll get onto later on in the year. So my first red is actually from Portugal, from the Dow region, and this is from Casa da Passarella. I don't know how to speak Portuguese, I'm actually really bad at it, but I love Portuguese wine because, again, most people think of it as just for fortified wine, just making port, but they actually make amazing still table wine. And I love the reds because they tend to be quite characterful and spicy, and definitely from the Dow region, that's what it's all about. And this is a blend of grapes, which again, probably I can't pronounce properly, but they're all like native grapes. So Tinto Roriz, 20%, Origo Nacional, 40%, Alfo Frochero, 20%, and Yayen, 20%. Apologies if there are any Portuguese people listening to me. And yeah, it's just been aged in French oak for 8 months, so it's still like fairly young. It's not going to be too dominant by oak flavors. And what's quite interesting about it is because it's 2014, it'll have aged a little bit, and definitely when you smell it, you get like dark plums, and then when you actually taste it, you get kind of dark plum, but almost like in terms of the tannin, like, you know, when you bite into like a Morello cherry and you get that cherry skin kind of pithiness, that's what I have. And then it's got these underlying balsamic notes, yeah, this lovely haunting kind of spice and sandalwood. And I wouldn't actually want to drink it any later. I'm just checking to see how much it was. I think this was around $16.99. I think 2014, that's a perfect time to drink it, because it's got this tartness, it's got that, it kind of ends with a kind of sweet like cherry tang. It's unapologetically being something different and interesting, and it almost reminds me of an Italian red, just in terms of like, it has like vibrant acidity, kind of grippy tannin, dark fruit, and it'd be great mixed with kind of like a lovely pizza or whatever. But I, in terms of wanting to pair it with an author, was thinking, okay, it's taut, it's expressive, it's kind of acerbic, it's unashamedly itself, it's a bit spicy, and David Sedaris came to mind, who, as people know, he's an author, he's a humorist, he's a stand-up comedian, and he's been described, or he describes himself as cheerfully misanthropic, and there's almost something like kind of dark about this wine, which I like, and unapologetic, and it kind of makes me think of the genre of fado music, which is unapologetically kind of melancholic, and people all go and listen to it in Portugal, and they drink and they sing and they cry, and yeah, there's something quite, brooding and melancholic about this wine. So I would drink this, and I would read David Sedaris, and then I'd have like a comforting slice of pizza. I think that's what I would do. So this last wine is really fun. I must admit, when I first tried it, I was like, wow, like it smells like raspberry licorice and plums. And then you drink it and it is really plush tannins and it's kind of a hug in a glass. And then it kind of changes and you get this kind of, again, like tart red berry thing going on and a dusky earthiness. And I was like, I wonder where this is from. Well, this is actually a Mexican wine. And weirdly, not only I haven't seen many Mexican wines while I've been here, but apparently this is the oldest winery in America. I know, isn't that crazy? Yeah, Casa Madero, established 1597. On August the 19th of 1597, Lorenzo Garcia received a land grant from King Philip II of Spain to produce wines in Parras Valley, thus giving birth to Casa Madero, the oldest winery in the American continent. And it's really interesting because it's almost like a Mexican version of a Bordeaux blend. So you get the Cabernet Sauvignon, 34%, which kind of gives it the backbone. You have Merlot, 33%, which gives it the plush, juicy tannins. And then you have the Tempranillo, the 33%. So that kind of gives it this lovely, that kind of red fruit, good acidity and brightness. But it's super interesting. It's from 2017, so it's showing really well, and I'm not sure how much longer I would hold on to it because I really love the red licorice element and the plush fruit, and I can already see it changing. But it's really, really, I think, subversive because I don't think anyone would think that America's oldest winery is from Mexico. And I think also if you gave them this wine, you know that it wasn't like maybe an American wine, but there's that I think you find it really hard to place. And I think then again, it makes you just think, well, what is the new world? What is the old world? Like, is Mexico the new world? But then they've been making wine since 1597. How can we put wine into these categories? It's a really interesting subject. So it's quite subversive, it's playful, it lulls you again to false security. And yeah, it's just really, really well made and super interesting. Not what you'd expect, and really resists categorization. And so therefore, I'm choosing an author who's actually Canadian, but it's Margaret Atwood, and I just think she's just such a masterful storyteller. You think you know what you're getting. When she first came out with The Handmaid's Tale in 1985, people were like, oh yeah, this is a dystopian novel. And then it's actually turned out to be more to the bone than any kind of fiction produced in today's world. And it's just like eerily accurate and just so on point and kind of defies, again, a category. It's just scarily accurate. It's not dystopian fiction, it's today, and it's extremely relatable. And I must admit also I'm reading The Testaments at the moment. So again, it's something which you think you can be like, oh yeah, this is an interesting story and it's kind of distant from me. And like, I love it. And then as you get into it, you just suddenly start realizing just how scarily, eerily resonant it is of today's world. So I know that she's not American, but I think her commentary on America and the world is just accurate and brilliant. And I need to finish this book basically, so I would have a glass of this awesome Mexican wine. It's $21.99, but I think, if you're drinking a really well-made Bordeaux kind of inspired blend from America's oldest winery, that's fantastic and it's different and the story is awesome. I'd read The Testament, and actually I think you need a comforting bowl of pasta. I'm sorry, all these wines are kind of like dark and brooding. I think it's almost that kind of darkening of the nights and the cooling of the temperatures, which make me think that. But I would love to know what your personal wine and author recommendations are, or even what your favorite autumnal wines are. I'm going to be doing a blog post coming up in the next few days all about other autumnal wines and styles and food pairings, but I just thought for National Authors Day it would be fun to pair with books. Hope you enjoyed, and happy, cozy, like reading and drinking, guys. Cheers.